Welcome back, my wisdom walkers. And for those of you who are new to my channel, Life Lessons Learned, my name is Sherry. And if you haven't already viewed the previous video to this one, which is entitled Stop the Derangement and the Estrangement, you may want to watch that video first, but it's not necessary in order to get the gist of this video. So, in that video, I did mention that this video entitled Make amends with family and friends. This one is actually going to give you some simple tools, techniques, steps that you can do to make amends with anyone that you may have been estranged from, or just for relationships that somehow have gone awry and you just want to reset them and get them on a better footing than what they have been in the past. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I'm not talking about relationships where you weren't respected or continuing in a reaching out to continue in a relationship that leads you to the same places that you're at now, which is being estranged. Now, these tips will be helpful for you, whether that estrangement is with a offspring, so your children, or if you're estranged from your parents. It'll work for friends, colleagues, old high school buddies, college friends, anyone that you feel that you would like to reconnect with, but on a better footing or at least on a different path than where you find yourself now with them. So, again, this is not for just simply reaching out to people saying, I want to be your friend again. You have to establish some, or you may have to establish some basic guidelines as to what your idea or your perspective on that friendship should look like. And then they would have to, of course, have some kind of agreement with you so that you both can maintain and develop the type of relationship that you would like to have in the future. So, as I said, these tips are going to be simple, but remember, simple isn't always easy. And sometimes it's difficult or challenging for some of us to be the one to extend the olive branch. And these tips are for you. So, I did say that in my previous video. They're not for you to call the other person and say, hey, this is what you need to do with me. This is steps that you would be willing to do in order to develop the type of relationships that you would like to have in your life and that you would like to maintain in your life. So let's just get to these tips. First of all, I want to say you definitely need to think before you speak and think before you reach out. And what I mean by that is state your cause for reaching out to the other person and what your ultimate goal is. So, if, for instance, you're looking to reignite a relationship, but you want it to be on different terms or you want it to include different parameters, then you need to be honest and upfront with that person as to why you're reaching out and what type of how you envision the relationship to be moving forward. Because just like you have choices, they also have choices. So maybe they'll decide, yes, this is something that I'm interested in. This is something I can agree with. And let's see how we can move forward within the parameters of that. So, for instance, like I always use myself and my own experiences as examples when I'm doing my videos. So, for instance, if you have someone who in the past, and that's another thing we'll talk about in this video because we don't want to be bringing up the past, dredging up the past, blaming, and all of that. But say you've had a relationship in the past where whenever someone got upset with you, this one particular person or whatever, instead of communicating with you or discussing with you in an adult, mature way, they just hang up the phone. So one of your parameters may be we're no longer going to, hang up on each other or, you know, that's not going to be acceptable. So they know going forward what your expectations are and why you're reaching out and what you're willing to do on your behalf to maintain the type of relationship the two of you may be looking to reestablish or establish, I should say. So think before you speak and take into consideration that your point of view is your point of view, and of course theirs is going may be different, but be willing to not be someone that's blaming or someone that's hypocritical or someone that's saying what someone else should have, would have, could have done. When we're looking to take responsibility and accountability for the types of relationships that we want to have, no matter whether that relationship, as I said, is with a sibling, a child, a parent, a colleague, a coworker, a neighbor, the grocer at the grocery store, we have to be thinking about what responsibilities we have and what actions that we're willing to take and that we're willing to maintain in order to create what it is that we would like to create with these relationships. So, as I said, no blaming techniques, not being hypocritical, no shaming tactics, no telling people what you would have done or what you would have said, because that's neither here nor there. The next tip is to learn to listen and listen to learn. People are always saying, "Yeah, I hear you." Okay. We know you can hear. That's what your ears are for. But are you really listening to the implications of what it is that someone is saying, or are you really listening to the ideal, I said ideal, but I meant ideas and ideologies that they're trying to impart to you during that conversation. So that was just something that I was taught in grade school by Mrs. Wilson. Learn to listen and listen to learn. So not only allowing them to hear your point of view, but you have to really be willing to listen and learn from what it is that they're saying or what their stance is. The other tip is please don't start defending the same argument that brought you where you are at today. So sometimes your feelings may not have changed and you still feel the same way about that, and that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is if someone gives their point of view and then you start being very defensive as to why they shouldn't have that point of view or how they're misunderstanding something. Now, I get it. Sometimes the other person doesn't have all the facts, but that's where you come in gracefully, respectfully, and letting them know what the actual facts are and, how you derive to that conclusion and allowing them to explain how they've arrived to theirs. So, again, it's not about siding with someone else just for the sake of siding with them, just for the sake of having a relationship that again you're not going to feel comfortable in, and then may down the road wind up leading to another estrangement. Be honest and upfront about what you feel, how you feel, why you feel that way, and be okay with their not jumping on board with what you're spouting or what you're should say spouting because then that sounds like we're just talking out of your neck. But just be cognizant of all of that. Now, another tip, which I have used in my own estrangements, is to sometimes you just have, I'm just going to say it, subjects that the two of you cannot and will not ever agree on. Guess what? It's called life. It's called different perspectives. It's called my point of view versus your point of view. But my issue here is that sometimes you just may need to agree on subjects that you both can discuss as adults. And then the ones that you can't agree on, or the ones that always seems to get things flared up, agree not to even talk about those subjects. You guys, this planet, this world, this universe has a myriad of subjects, ideas, topics, things that we can agree on that we can talk about. We don't need to focus on the things that we're just not going to see eye to eye on. Sometimes east is east and west is west, and neither the two shall meet. Be okay with that if you're willing to be okay with that. For me, I don't insist on people talking about a subject that they just can't deal with. What's the point in that? I'm like, okay, we're not going to agree. I'm okay with us not agreeing. Let's move on. So agree up, up front to subjects that are off limits, off the table, not going to be brought up. And then guess what? Keep them off the table, keep them off limits, keep not bringing them up. That'll maintain the relationship that you would like to have without you worrying about when someone's going to say something or do something or exhibit something that you don't agree with. Just agree to disagree and keep it moving, okay? Now, another tip is for the two of you. And this is, of course, in cases when there is just, one on one or, just two people trying to amend or restart or re-kick, reboot a relationship that they really do want to have with another person. So don't focus, only focus on you two, the two of you. I said you two. It sounded like I said focus on you two. That's not what I'm saying. So, and by that I mean don't focus on what someone else said or someone else did or someone else thought that made this situation worse. Just work on the issues that the two of you have had and don't try to second guess or third guess what a third party had to do with any of it. Now, if that third party is essential to your maintaining the relationship with this person, or that third party has a major role in what happened, then the two of you would need to determine if that's someone that needs to be included in this rebooting of the relationship or this reigniting the relationship or in this moving the relationship forward. But 9 times out of 10, let's just be honest, that third party is just a, I don't want to curse, so I'll say a stiff maker. Rhymes with stiff. So, and they're the ones that keep conflict, keep miscommunication, keep rumors, keep innuendo. Is that word right? Innuendo? Up. And they are the ones that make sure that the chaos comes with them. Okay. So sometimes just dealing with the two of you, what you two are envisioning that you would like to do moving forward with your relationship, and just keeping it with that kind of a lid on it. And of course, that third party may find out, hey, you two are now talking. What did you say? That's up to you to determine whether you want to go into detail about the this whole arrangement, or if you prefer to, just keep it within the two of you and say, yes, yes, we've come to a conclusion that we can amend this and we're going to move forward from there. And then don't allow others to come and usurp your relationship, your communication, your progress that you two have decided to have in order to move forward. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is ways to reach out, to reconnect, to rebuild your relationships. Okay. So some of these are what I call, well, I'm going to be nice here. I was going to call the sissy ass way of doing things. But you know what? Anytime we're reaching out to someone, whatever ways that we decide to do that, we need to own and we need to be proud of whatever avenues that we've decided to use to move forward. So I say sissy way because some people say, I don't know. I, as you know, I'm a writer, so I love to write. So sometimes just sending a letter, a real letter, snail mail from the 1900s, and sitting down and really writing out how you feel, a heartfelt letter to that person. But now this is the caveat to that because a lot of people are like, well, they may not write back or they never responded. You have to be willing to be okay with a non response, no matter which of these ways that you're going to be reaching out. So if you really are, and the reason for that is this whole thing is really about you. If it's something that you want to do, you want to be able to say, yes, I've reached out, or I did try to, make amends, or I extended the olive branch, then you want to be okay with that, then that's fine. But don't put any attachments to it. Don't go run into your mailman asking him if he missed your letter or Mr. Postman. Just be okay with what you've done and really be willing to release whatever the outcome is or accept whatever the outcome is. So snail mail is one way, and I just like to do that because I like to receive real letters. Well, I used to like to receive real letters from people back in the day, and so I would always send like real physical letters. But that's up to you. Other ways, as we all know, you can always email someone as well. Contact them through email, still doing the same thing that you would in a regular letter, pouring out your heart, your feelings, letting them know that you miss them, that you would like to rekindle that relationship and why. So remember, always state your reason why you want to reach out and what your ultimate goal is. So that way, when they get this information, they can determine what it is, or they can envision what it is, the type of relationship that you're describing to them, and they can decide if it's something that they want to pursue or, check out. Another way could be through text, of course. You can always text someone, and the text can be short, it could be long, it could just be, hey, I've been thinking about you, I've been reflecting on the relationship that we've had and the reason why we've been exchanged, and I would like to get with you or talk with you and see where we can go from here. Because remember, you guys, it's, you can only do your part, and we have no control over how that's being received or perceived. So just do your part on um, making amends with family and friends, and then letting them or allowing them the opportunity to determine what that means for them. Okay, so I know this can be challenging. I know it can be scary. I know that lots of fears can set in. Sometimes we are the ones that were in the, I don't even want to say in the wrong because we all have different perspectives, but sometimes we're the ones that may have caused the estrangement. And so we're intimidated to reach out and say, hey, I'm looking at things differently, or I felt like, I was right at the time, but now I see that I wasn't. It can be difficult. I get that. So trust me, I understand. Another way to reach out is to text and ask for a Zoom meeting. Maybe you can see each other face to face, or, everyone's doing everything by their phone. So FaceTime or something where you can actually see the person's expression and see how they're taking in the information, and they can see your reaction as well. So sometimes that could be another avenue for people. Or if you prefer, you can always agree to meet somewhere. I would say publicly, but this is for, well, it will of course be publicly, but not because you're afraid that they may harm you or something like that. So if that's the situation, take that out. Okay, we're not talking about people that have to meet in public because someone may go off and you don't know what they're going to do. I'm talking about rational, clear thinking adults that have had some type of estrangement or some type of event or circumstances that cause one to, or both, to not no longer communicate with each other. And now some time may have passed and you're both thinking, what an idiot. I should have just, reached out 2 days later, or I should have just composed myself and thought things through. So that's what I'm talking about when I say make amends with family and friends. It's really for relationships that you regret having dissipated from your life, and you would like to reignite that, or like to rekindle that, even if it means being on a different path and being on a higher path and being able to respect and you know speak and communicate in ways that you both can agree on. So these are some things that I wanted to talk about. For those of you who did not watch the previous video, you'll know that I'm talking through experience. So I was once everybody's favorite sister. All of that has faded in the past. So I'll probably talk about how I became the one that was estranged in the family dynamics. And that'll be really, really way down the road because I'll be talking about all the things that occurred up to those points with all of the individuals in my family and why things resulted in the way that they did. But as you can see, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm peaceful. Mm. and I understand the dynamics as they were unfolding, and I also understood them as we got to the results, and that led us to the paths that we are all on individually. And again, I'm just a little bit different than a lot of other people. I really take a clear, concise look at all of it. So there's both sides of the coin to take into consideration, and then what we perceive about the incidents or events or challenges that we've had in our lives. And I really am okay, well, more than okay, with everything that I have created in my life. Now, that's not to say I'm ecstatic about everything that's ever happened to me since I was born in 1959, okay? Just let's just be real. But what I'm saying is, I understand my responsibility and accountability for where I'm at in life, how I got here in my life, why I'm where I'm at, and the choices that I've made that have either that I've decided to make or choices that I didn't decide, and how all of that is a combination of what I'm experiencing now, which is, I hate to say it because then I get a lot of haters out there, but it's true bliss, true peace, true clarity. You know, I'm loving life. And I also love it for those who are no longer in my life. So I don't have any animosity towards anyone. I don't. Is that really true though? I think it is. I don't wish ill on anyone for sure. And I'm able to move on and move forward. So this is Sherry. This is Life Lessons Learned. For those of you who are thinking of mending some relationships or moving forward with some or reigniting some, please leave your comments below. Share the tips that you like to that I've just discussed that you may like to utilize, or com- let us know some of the things that you're doing or that you would like to do in order to reignite a relationship or no longer be estranged from certain family members, friends, colleagues, whoever it is that you would like to reconnect with. Because you guys, it's once we're gone, it's gone. We can't shoulda, woulda, coulda. We can't say, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. I mean, we can say those things, but why put ourselves in that position when we can do something about these things now? Today, this minute, this second. Now, does that mean thinking of it and then sending the text right away? No. Remember, my very first tip was think before you speak. So, really think about how you want to convey what it is that you would like to create or what type of relationship you would like to see in the future. And then take your time to go through those steps and see who you would like to take those steps with and why. This is Sherry. This is Life Lessons Learned. For those of you who are so inclined, please subscribe. I will see you guys on the next run. Thanks. Bye bye.